So my name is Vera, and I work for Transferwise. I am a Asia KYC team lead, so don't mix me. I'm not a product person. I'm a purely operational person, the one who is checking the documents behind the counter while product people are doing some changes. But I think our team made quite a cool impact, and we realized a bunch of things, how we can communicate with products. And this is something that I would like to share with you. Basically, we are the team who are in Singapore, in Tallinn. We also have customer support in Tokyo. And interestingly enough, I will agree with Chen and George that we actually have Japanese people in Tallinn. We managed to hire 2 Japanese people in Tallinn faster than in Singapore. That was completely crazy for me. We just found a Japanese girl in our general funnel, was like, wow, I want you. Where have you been all this time? So I don't know how many of you heard about Transferwise in general, but my current talk today would be about what does it mean for us to launch something new. I will talk about the currency, which means what give you an opportunity to send from a certain currency from a certain country. In general, how our customer journey would look more or less in a nutshell. Some Hong Kong, Japanese, and Japan insights. Whoops. And 1 year of our team in a nutshell, because I have been a lead for this particular team for 1 year. It's almost my anniversary, and I think we've done some cool stuff. So first of all, how many of you heard about Transferwise, and how many of you know how this thing works? Cool. Oh my God. Okay, for those who haven't, we are money transfers, peer-to-peer. Basically, we empower people to move money around the globe without paying crazy fees for transfers and conversion. Briefly in a nutshell. We don't require you to go to the bank. We require you to go to our web page, to use our app. We're gonna collect some information from you, and we might ask you for some documents as well, because we have to understand that you are legit. We are actually financial institutions, so we are obliged to do that. When it comes to the launch of anything, let's say you are in Europe, God damn it, and you are trying to send money to London, to your friend. Well, in this case, that's the market that we started from, so it's easy. We went to government, kinda, got a license, sounds easy, sometimes takes a couple of years. Then we got agreement with them on certain terms, which means what they expect us to check from our customers to transfer this money to the target currency, and voila, we try to interpret all these regulations to our customers. Sounds cool and easy, right? So sometimes each of these steps takes a couple of years. Well, the second step is basically on our side. If we already have a certain term, we know the product power, developers, let's do it faster. And the first part sometimes takes from half a year, we're lucky. Sometimes it takes up to 2-3 years. In case of Japan, I think it took us plus 2 years to get it done, the actual license, and then a lot of stuff of the development, but something that I'm gonna cover a bit later. So that's the whole process in a nutshell. Of course, there are more and more like details involved, but if we look at the whole world, Transferwise covers around 71 countries, and we cover around more than 1,000 routes, which means like count Euro, GBP back and forward, 1, 2. We try to offer as many options as possible, but obviously Europe is one of the most open markets because we have started from here. Our headquarters are in London currently. And when it comes to European customers, if you have ever transferred money from Europe anywhere else, that's so easy because there are so many ways how we can check you. First of all, the first thing that comes to your mind, open your wallet, that's your ID, right? So if you are using online platform, we'll ask you for your driving license, we can check it, your match, amazing. Next, address proof, not so popular lately, like we mostly use selfies now, but still, also an additional proof, which can check your address, where do you actually live, bank statement. We can use bank information because banks in Europe are quite open. We can see your name. That also gives us a certain piece of reassurance that it's you who is using our service. some card information, rarely, but still used, and more popular now, like a lot of companies coming up in the market who are using video. That's already quite severe verification, how I would say it, because it takes a bit more time in the flow, but still doable. So bunch of different options in Europe. So how does it look in Asia? I'm going to tell you how it looks in Hong Kong, how it looked in Hong Kong and how it looks now, and I'm going to tell you how it looks in Japan. So Hong Kong. First, when we reached Hong Kong a couple of years ago, we had an agreement with them that to empower a customer to send from Hong Kong dollars, they have to provide us 2 documents, our customers. So which means you go to the web page, you try from HKD, and that's what you have to give us. Why passport copy? Why on earth not just an ID? Do I have in my wallet driving license? Why I cannot just provide this one? As ISICU code is important in Estonia, they consider nationality as the same piece of information, so they would like to understand what's your nationality. I actually have no idea if they use it anywhere, but they require to collect it. So we went with the easy idea, like, cool, all the passports in the world have to have nationality. We don't have to ask for anything, address proof. We launched the service, boom, interesting. More than 80% of our customers require additional help. What happened? Actually, the first guess was that address proof is quite a difficult document to get, because usually people who first start using Transferwise are expats, so they travel, they move, and then the first month you try to transfer money to pay your bills, and you ended up not having any address proof. Because if it's a tenancy agreement, it's probably 7-page long, and if it's your bank statement, you don't have it with you right away. We found a solution. Apparently, the bank transfer can be also used in Hong Kong. So basically what happened is that we agreed with our regulator that it's possible, instead of address proof, just use bank information. Yes, we had to investigate if customers are actually using more bank transfers than cards. What if 90% of them using cards and it's just impossible for them to do bank transfer? Lucky for us, most of the customers there use bank transfers because it's cheaper. So we basically prompted most of them just using bank transfers -1 document. Nice. We thought that the contacts from our customers are going to drop like at least 50% or something. Nope, didn't happen. We tried to figure out what happens next. We realized one interesting thing, that, well, normal people don't have passports with them. People just have ID documents. And the same way how we have ID cards or residency permits, they have the Hong Kong permanent card. Lucky enough, this document doesn't have any nationality on it. Thank you, Hong Kong people. You ask for it, but you don't have it. So most of the people, day to day, started uploading these documents, and we kept asking them, could you please confirm where you're actually from? Which is nonsense, but how could we know? So we ended up with this, with this combination. That's how it actually works, at least of now. And that basically helped us to reduce contacts from 80 to almost 30%. Yes, people still have some problems like quality. They try to make a picture, sometimes it doesn't work, but it's quite difficult coming from Europe to find very, very fast and a cool solution like background checks like in Europe. So that's the solution that came from Hong Kong. If you think Hong Kong is hard, wait for Japan. Japan. So I have described you ID documents that are asked in Hong Kong. So this weird part on the left called number card, I'm pretty sure Japanese people are aware of this document. So this is like all-in-one Japanese document. It has your name, your address. You are obliged to update it if you move. It has your my number document, my number, I would say it's like a tax number, almost like SSN in US. So essentially, to onboard customers who are trying to do from Japanese yen transfer, we have to ask for all this information which is stated on one document. If our customers don't have that particular document, well, ID plus this number separately, which we thought, okay, why if you have one document, why ask for 3? Well, interesting insight, we didn't know about it, but actually on like less than 50% of Japanese population has number cards because it's an additional type of ID and they just don't have it, which basically brings all the expats and all the customers from Japan through the painful flow of asking passport, driving license, or residency permits with all this information on it, plus this lovely green thing, which is basically issued to you as soon as you have at least probably like I think a couple of 2 months in Japan, you have to have it, it's your tax number. And that's not it. The next part that probably people who hear about it for the first time, they're like, what is this? We call it snail mail. So that's how I thought it gonna look like when I first when I first encountered this thing. Basically, that's the physical letter that is sent to you via actual Japan posts, and you have to have a code and enter it in our system because Japan requires us to check your physical address. I don't think that any country in the world so far at least have this. Well, we're gonna hear like a talk about Singapore later, they have their own constraints, but the snail mail is a unique Japanese feature. So we're like, okay, no panic, we can get it done. What do? Cool, we collect all the documents, we send people this mail right away, probably take 24, 48 hours, we're gonna get it done. So essentially how it happens is that we get your ID, we get your address checked, we send you a snail mail, the lovely Japanese postman rushes to your mailbox, but you have to receive it in person. They cannot just drop it to your mailbox, you actually have to sign it, which was hilarious because first we tried to understand why people don't get our letters. We were sending them from Monday to Friday first. We forgot that people mostly are on Saturdays and Sunday at home. So we had to extend our contract to send all those letters on Saturdays and Sundays. And the interesting part is that, yes, we thought that it's gonna work like a turbo snail, ended up more like this. So people forget their addresses, people mix up numbers, people are not at home, so it involved a huge amount of notifications. We pretty much like DHL in Japan, we send them tracking numbers. People are able to reschedule those letters, and that's how Japan works right now. But I would agree with George as well that Japan is actually moving forward. It took us a couple of years to get a license, but you can read online that Japan changed their regulations in November 2018. It took almost 2 years of lobbying from Transferwise also, that they basically implemented the regulation that allows to skip this part, basically to replace it. So they do move in our direction slowly. It just might take a couple of years instead of half a year. And basically, in a nutshell, to summarize our talk, my talk is something that we have learned as an operational team, not a product one, is communication is very essential. We are the first ones who see all those issues from customers. I cannot get my snail mail. I don't understand where it is, what is happening. Customer context analysis is everything for us. Whenever we have changed something, it came from our customers, first of all. Local experience, when you are on an online platform and you are actually not in front of your customers, you actually launch it and then learn. Yes, it works this way sometimes. And power for revolution, even if you have waited for 2 years for certain regulation to change, still push for it, it's actually possible. So if Hong Kong is already more or less set and go, Japan will probably change within the following year, and I hope that Japanese market will also help us with verification of our customers. Thank you.